Hey, what's up guys? A number of people have asked me about how I get my arch when I bench press. Mobility has something to do with it, but if you can't get a good arch, it's usually not because you didn't roll around on a foam roller enough. It's more likely that you just haven't figured out a good way to set up. Once you figure it out, actually practicing the setup over and over again will develop mobility and will do a heck of a lot more for you than rolling on the ground will. So here's what I found works for me. First, I lay down on the bench with my feet up on the bench as well. Then I set my grip. That's the easiest part, and it's better to get it out of the way first and not have to worry about it later. If I set down my shoulders nice and tight and then have to go back and move my hands around all over the place again, that might throw my shoulders back out of position. It's better to set it and forget it. I then pull myself up and position myself so that the bar is right over my nipple line. If you're asymmetrical and have nipples in different positions, you're fucked. Then I pick myself up and place my traps/upper back down on the bench. At this point, the bar is somewhere between my neck and my nose to ensure that I don't have too much distance to cover when I actually take the bar out. I then pull my shoulders back and down. Try to pull your shoulders away from your ears and create a long neck. I like to use the cue of trying to get a giraffe neck. From here, I like to wiggle around and really try to elongate my neck and dig my shoulders into the bench. Pinch your shoulder blades together, think of trying to get a big puffy chest, and use the weight of the bar to push yourself into the bench. When there's no weight on the bar, sometimes the bar will move a little bit from all the pressure. Now here's the important part. Drop your butt directly down as close to your upper back as possible, or as comfortable. Although, it's always going to be a little bit uncomfortable. This is what actually creates the arch, and not necessarily where your feet go. To help you get your butt close to your upper back, use your legs to push towards the rack while simultaneously dropping your butt. Again, it's how close your butt is to your upper back that determines how much of an arch you get, not necessarily where your legs are. Alright, so to help me demonstrate this point, Larry's going to help me do some splaining here. Okay, so listen up, because Larry's a thick, shredded son of a bitch, okay? He knows what he's talking about. So here are Larry's shoulders, right around here, right? Here's Larry's ass, and then watch what happens when they get close together. Boom. There's the arch, right there. See that? Boom. There's the arch. Say Larry sets up on his traps, right? He's got that long, nice and long giraffe neck, shoulders are pinned down, everything's set. And then he places his ass down close to his shoulders. There's that arch. You see that? Now say he goes through all the trouble of setting up nice and tight on his traps, his upper back, but he sets his butt far away from the bench. See that? See the difference between this and that? So how dramatic of an arch we get is determined by how close our butt is to our upper back. See that? Not necessarily where our feet go. Larry's a piece of paper, but the point still holds. Most people have tight hip flexors, right? They don't have unlimited flexibility here. So as we try to tuck our feet underneath us, that's just gonna pull our sternum down and make us arch more of our lower back. Again, we want a big arch, overall arch. If anything, we want to be focused around the lower sternum where the bar will touch. But if we tuck our feet underneath us, what will usually happen is that the lower back will just get more arched, and then we will lose some of that arch in our upper back because the hip flexors are just tilting our pelvis in this direction, like that. So when you see people with that crazy arch and the feet directly underneath them, it'll look something like this. But that's because they have good spinal flexibility. So see, their legs will come straight down. They're basically sitting on their crotch. For the average person with average mobility, you're not going to get that arch like that. You're going to be closer to somewhere around here, and by tucking your feet underneath, it's not going to really help you. Again, because it'll just tilt your pelvis forward and make you arch your lower back more. You want to place your legs down where you'll be able to create the maximum amount of stability and leg drive. Sometimes you'll see small women benching with their legs straight down directly underneath them. This girl here has incredible spinal flexibility, but also her proportions allow her to do this. Unless you have similar proportions and level of flexibility, you're not going to get the same arch by doing what she does. As you can see, the arch is the same regardless of where my feet are. However, if I try to get my feet underneath me, all that does is make me arch my lower back more. It makes me feel like I'm going to snap my spine in half. You want your arch to be more focused around the lower part of your sternum, where the bar will actually touch. So with my proportions, when I try to get my feet underneath me, I ruin my arch. Here's another reason why you may not want to put your legs directly underneath you. When you bench, you want good leg drive. So first of all, notice that it's leg drive, not hip drive. We're looking for knee extension here, not hip extension. If your legs are directly underneath your butt and you extend your legs, what do you think will happen? Your butt will shoot straight up into the air. If our feet is directly underneath us, for some people who like to bench this way, this really helps them, keeps us a tight arch overall, like a really tight setup. But when we go to use leg drive, when we push with our legs, what's going to happen if our feet are right underneath us? It's just going to make us shoot our asses up. Like that. But if our feet are somewhere a little bit ahead of us, away from the rack a little, then we can use that leg power to push and drive back towards the rack. See that? Boom. Boom. You want to be able to push your legs away from you so that the energy gets transferred through your lower body towards the rack and to your chest where the bar is sitting. To see a maybe extreme but really good example of this, find a video of Dan Green benching. The bar will sink into his chest and his arch will drop, then it will push with his legs and the force will puff up his chest again and the bar will pop right off his chest. You don't want your ass to go straight up into the air, but you may see your butt sliding slightly up and across the bench when done correctly. When placing your feet down on the ground, you can experiment with setting them further apart. If you have long legs, this may help. Pointing the heels out also helps with preventing the butt from lifting for some people. When you unrack the bar, it's best to have a spotter help you. If you unrack it by yourself, your shoulders may come out of position. Either way, take a moment, pull your lats down, get that giraffe neck, and let the weight sink your shoulders into the socket, squeezing your shoulder blades together and puffing up your chest. Always take a moment to do that before starting the lift. And this is a good time to talk about why I like to use a wide grip. So here's a picture of me benching 405 pounds. Here's my head. Here are my arms. This is the bar. And here are the Eleiko calibrated plates. Wait a minute. Okay, that's better. So as the weight is pushing down towards the ground, with my arms this wide, the weight is actually pushing my arms deep into the sockets. So when that happens, everything is stable and pinned down. My shoulders don't get any snap, crackle, pop action. And if you let the weight sink your arms into the sockets, your chest will naturally puff up and your shoulder blades will naturally pinch together. And also, try this at home right now. Hold your arms out straight in front of you like a zombie. Now move them out to the side and try to touch your pinky fingers together behind you. Your shoulder blades should naturally pinch together and your chest should puff out. So here's a picture with a close grip, and I'm just going super close here just to be over dramatic and make the point really clear. But the weight is pushing my shoulders into the bench, but it's not necessarily pushing my shoulder blades together or my arms deep into the socket as it would if my arms were a little bit wider. When you bring the bar down, tuck your elbows. But when you tuck your elbows, make sure that your wrists follow. The bar should be directly over your wrist, and your wrist should be directly over your elbows. Otherwise, you end up in an awkward position at the bottom. People who excessively tuck their elbows, you'll see that their elbows will swing right back under the bar in the wrist when they begin to press anyways, because the elbows need to be under the bar in order to press it up. Having the elbows too flared out and the wrist going beyond your elbows is bad as well. If I do the same thing without the bar, you can just see how awkward it looks when the wrists are not over the elbows. Over-tucked elbows are good for when you're trying to do the whip, but that's for another video. If I was trying to push this preacher curl bench over, when do you think I'll be the strongest? When my elbows are below, above, or behind my wrist. It's the same thing with overhead press, right? You want your elbows underneath the bar. Another reason why our butts lift sometimes is simply because we just panic. But here's a pretty grindy single that I did the other day. I just stayed calm and everything worked out. Just remember to push back and towards the rack, not straight up into the air. Try setting up the way I described in the video first. If you still can't get a good arch, then try this. Lay on your back with a foam roller between your lower back and the floor. Try to keep your butt and shoulders on the floor at all times. Eventually this won't be possible anymore, but try your best. Stay there and take 3 to 5 deep breaths and try to relax. Then move the roller up an inch and repeat the process until you stretch your entire back. I'm no mobility expert, so if you snap your shit up while doing this, it's on you. I've seen highly flexible people who are capable of back bends who still cannot get a good arch because their setup was wrong. So focus on the setup first before going crazy with the mobility work. Key points are, the closer your butt is to your upper back, the more dramatic the arch. The arch isn't necessarily determined by where your feet are. Pinch your shoulder blades together and pull your shoulders down away from your ears to try to get that long giraffe neck. Use your legs to push towards the rack, not to get you into a floating decline position. And try to keep your wrist and elbows aligned. I included footage of my actual working sets in this video because for some reason, sometimes the way people demonstrate how they perform a lift with an empty bar is completely different from how they actually lift with their working sets. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like the video. If you think anybody could benefit from this, please share it. And make sure you subscribe or else Larry will cut you. So that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys next time. And in the meantime, don't forget to put your goddamn weights away!